Good evening, everybody. Good Tuesday night, evening. Happy Tuesday. Here sharing another restorative pose with you tonight. Let me make some prop suggestions for everybody. If we were all at the yoga studio, we'd be using 2 blankets. And I don't know if you can see clearly, but the smooth edges of these 2 blankets are facing the end of the mat where my head is going to be. So said differently, the franged in is going to be where my feet are. So that's if you have 2 yoga blankets hanging around at your house. If you don't, here's my other suggestion. If you have a yoga block, one would work for this. You could put the yoga block in the center of the yoga mat. And this is the throw blanket off my guest room bed, and you could soften the block by putting the blanket on top. One other suggestion, and I didn't bring any in with me, would be 2 large bath towels. I think that would work as well. I also have a very small eye pillow, and eye pillows are wonderful because as we shade our eyes, it helps us to relax. So let's get started. Tonight, we are working on a posture that is all about openness and surrender. Because what else can we really be right now? Circumstances other than open and surrendered to what is. So I think I will show you with the blankets first, and then I will walk us through how to use the other props. So you want to come and sit with your knees bent. Now, knees bent is important for 2 reasons. The first one is that when the knees are bent, the belly relaxes. And when the belly relaxes in a restorative pose, the lower back feels more comfortable. So many of you can probably take the legs long, but let's all start with bent knees. And you just slowly come down. Now that doesn't feel comfortable to me at all. I need to move the firmer edges of my blankets in line with my waistband or right under my waistband. And then my arms come out to the sides, closer to my hips. So you may have already figured this out. Those of you that are backbend adverse, this is a supported back bend. It's called Salamba Urdhva Dhanurasana. And there can be more difficult versions of this pose that are restorative. But I like this one. I think it feels really good. And I teach it to people of all ages at the studio. So let's assume for a moment you don't have 2 yoga blankets. You can take a block. And you'll want to pad it because this is the restoratives practice. And once you pad it with a blanket, it's the same setup. You come and sit. Now you're a little bit higher with your block. So lower yourself down really slowly. And again, you can see me wiggling around. It wasn't particularly comfortable where I landed the first time. And the hands again will come up. It's important these days that we keep our chest literally open and keep our chest surrendered. So tonight I decided that as you lie here in this restorative pose, I'd like to read to you a reading the way I often do at the beginning of yoga classes. I've been sharing it with all of my online streaming classes, and it's beautiful, and I think it will bring some comfort to you tonight. So if you're settled into the pose, and especially if you have the eye pillow next to you, go ahead and put the eye pillow over your eyes. Close your eyes. And maybe for tonight, imagine that you are like water, spreading in all directions at once. Know that there is absolutely nothing for you to do here. Begin to notice the rhythm of your breathing. When I was teaching tonight, I was saying what a gift our breath is. And just a few minutes lying here, focusing on our breath, can change the way that we feel physically and emotionally. So please enjoy continuing to to enjoy the restorative. I'm going to sit up, put on my glasses, and read to you the anthem, or part of what's entitled The Anthem of Our Day by Mark Nepo. In the ocean of history, things build and then are worn away to what is most essential. This is an irrevocable and recurring tide of time. And while the storms, whatever their form, first push us away, it is only by coming together that we endure and emerge even stronger, clearer, and more loving. This seems to be where we are now, and the practice, so simple and so difficult, is how to move through the days with caution and care without feeding our panic. For the other virus spreading now is fear. We all feel it, calling us with its hypnotic frenzy. But one thing I've learned from almost dying from cancer is that fear is to be moved through and not obeyed. And we need each other in order to see clearly so that we can right-size what is before us day after day. As we practice caution and social distancing, let us not distance each other in our hearts. As we are forced to slow down and stop our busyness, let us feed more than our fear. Let us strengthen our inner resolve, both physically and spiritually, so we can meet the necessities of the day in hopes of making things more beautiful. For we are all being called to outlast the siren of fear until we can touch upon the reliable truths that reside beneath all fear. Like a strong net that softens the carriage of weight, the strength of our connections, even while physically apart, will soften the sharpness of the uncertainty inherent in times like this. You're welcome to lie here a little bit longer, maybe 3 to 6 or 7 minutes. Whenever you decide to come out of the pose, you just roll slowly to the side. Pick the side to roll to. Pause and linger there for a moment. And then get up slowly and go about the rest of the night. I'm grateful that we're practicing together. I believe what he says, that we, like a strong net that softens the carriage of weight, the strength of our connections, while physically apart, will soften the sharpness of the uncertainty inherent in times like this. Thank you so much for joining in. I hope you sleep really well tonight. Namaste.